Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hugo with It. Today I'm here to share with you the very best historical fiction that I read in 2018. Now I'm also doing tons of other genres like nonfiction and contemporary and going through the best of those genres as well. So take a look at those videos if you haven't yet. But let's dive into historical fiction. So I read a lot of amazing historical fiction this year, but I definitely have a top 5 that I need to share with you. The first is a book that I read very early in 2018, and it's Memoirs of a Geisha. This has like a little lovely spot in my heart. I just adored this book. It's about a young girl who is sold by her parents who are not doing well. Her father is a fisherman. Her mother is dying, and she and her sister are sold. Her sister is sold, I think, to become a cleaning woman or something along those lines. She's just sold for the work that she can do. And our main character is sold to become a geisha. And you follow her in Japan learning to become a geisha. You're meeting other geisha in this book, and there's one geisha in here that is so foul. She is the worst. In any case, there's also a love story in here. Now, I don't usually love love stories, but this one I could totally get behind, and I just adored this book. I wish I could read it again because truthfully, it's one of the best, you know, historical fiction books that I've ever read. I just loved it that much. So yeah, that's Memoirs of a Geisha. Finally read that one. I also loved The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is a really fun, quick read about a woman who is Evelyn Hugo. She's a very big star in the 50s, and we meet her then, and we meet her as an old woman. And she has pinpointed a specific journalist that she wants to write her story. She will not tell her story to anyone else but this journalist. And so the journalist says okay, and they start exploring Evelyn Hugo's life. And it is about all her many husbands. There is a major love story in here. And Evelyn isn't always the most likable character. She does some backhanded things to several people to rise up in Hollywood. But I still could not put this down. I still wanted to know what happens to Evelyn. And I still kind of respected her, even though she wasn't always lovely. But yeah, I really love The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. If you want something fast-paced, historical fiction, and drama, holy man, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is there for you for sure. I also need to share with you the Book of Negroes by Lawrence Hill. This is Canadian fiction, and we meet Aminata in this book. She is a little girl in Africa until she is kidnapped and sold into slavery. She's put on a slave ship, sent to America, and we follow her on her many journeys. We meet her in Africa. She goes to England later in life. She obviously goes to America, South America, the southern states, and then also New York. She goes to Canada at one point. She's all over the place, and she is kind of able to survive based on her resilience. And her mother teaches her how to become a midwife earlier in her life, and so that skill helps her in her earlier life. And I just loved Aminata. She's got so much character and so much depth, and I was rooting for her the whole way through. Another one that I have to share with you is The Harts, Invisible Furies by John Boyne. And we meet a young boy named Cyril Avery in this book, and he really steals your heart. He is gay and it is, I think, the 1950s, which is not an easy time to be gay. And you follow him from when he's a young boy all the way into, you know, adulthood later on in his life. And he has like really strange parents, and there's so many people that he meets are unkind to him, but he does, after a certain point, he starts meeting people who are truly kind to him. And it is about what the gay experience would be like in the 50s, which I can only imagine would be so difficult, and so it would just feel like torture, I imagine, to feel like you are never safe to be yourself. And I'm so glad we live in a different time. I still wish that people were still a bit more thoughtful and kinder human beings on this planet. But I loved Cyril, and I just so highly recommend the Harts Invisible Furies. It was really good. And then the last historical fiction book that I need to share with you is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This is like historical fiction and sci-fi because there's not time travel, but we meet a woman named Ursula who lives her life over and over and over and over again in a way, because in some cases she dies walking down a street when she turns this way, and in some cases she lives when she walks down the street and turns the other way. And so there are many deaths of Ursula in this book. Sometimes she makes it to a young age and then passes away. In other cases, she makes it much further on. So you meet her in, I think, 1910. She's born. And you follow her many lives, even into World War II, which I thought that section was so brilliant. You're there for the bombings and the fogs, and oh, I just adored this book. It really taught me that life is random, which I really appreciated and needed that lesson in my life. So I loved Life After Life. And those are the best historical fiction books that I read in 2018. Let me know in the comments below what the best historical fiction book that you read in 2018 was. I would love to know, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye guys.